One of Japan's biggest sumo wrestling tournaments has been called off over allegations of match fixing. 2 wrestlers and a coach admitted to rigging bouts, and 11 others are under suspicion of corrupting the ancient sport. As our Tokyo correspondent Roland Burke reports, there's concern sumo's image has been irreparably damaged.
Has a sumo grand tournament been called off because of scandal? But the confessions by 2 wrestlers and a coach to bout rigging has thrown the sport into crisis. In all, 14 people have been implicated. The chairman of the Japan Sumo Association, Hanaragoma Oyakata, called it the biggest black eye in sumo history. The Prime Minister, Naoto Kan, said it was a betrayal of the people. For many Japanese, sumo is more than just a sport. With their samurai-style top-knot haircuts, the wrestlers are regarded as the keepers of an ancient tradition. They're expected to follow a strict code of behaviour. But last week it was revealed that text messages found by the police on mobile phones suggested some were prepared to throw bouts for money. The phones have been confiscated during an earlier investigation into illegal gambling by wrestlers on baseball games using gangster middlemen.
Roland Burke, BBC News, Tokyo.
Doreen Simmons is a veteran sumo commentator with 18 years' experience with the Japanese broadcaster NHK, and she joins me now on the phone from Tokyo. Doreen, hello.
Hello.
Good morning to you there. Just give us some idea of how big a scandal this is in Japan.
Oh, I mean, it's terrible. The news, the Japanese news, starts with the sumo scandal, and it preempts everything else. And then you get to a huge volcanic eruption in Kyushu, which is destroying lots of crops. And then you get a bit about Egypt. Then you come back to a political scandal here. But, I mean, the sumo seems to be on everyone's lips, whether they were really interested in sumo or not.
Even the Prime Minister has commented on it, hasn't he?
And he's got problems of his own, too. I was just out putting out the garbage, and I live just across the road from one of the sumo stables, one that's not particularly badly implicated, and I can hear from outside the scuffles and the grunts as business as usual. They started a couple of hours ago training. All they can do is just carry on.
This sport goes back centuries, is a huge part, a massive part of Japanese culture. These allegations, and indeed some individuals have admitted match fixing. Is this relatively new in the sport?
Well, the thing is, there's always been a sort of, I need a win at this point, and if you give me one, you're all right. You give me one this time. Next time you're in trouble, I'll return the favour. I mean, this is part of ordinary life, isn't it? You do something for somebody and expect it back. It's only when it gets to this scale that, and there's possibly money changing hands, that it becomes a problem. I mean, there's been a case in the past, not too long ago, in the past, 10 or 20 years ago, when a young man was gunning for the very top-level position. And he was accused of buying enough bouts to make it to the top promotion. And he said, nobody could afford that kind of money. Of course I won the bouts fairly. So there's always
Doreen,
been...
I just want to ask you briefly, our viewers might be interested to know how you, British-born, have ended up commenting on sumo wrestling for 18 years now.
Oh, well... I started off being interested in the distant past, and that's what gave me the impetus to teach myself classical Greek, and with good Latin I got into Cambridge doing classics. But I've always been interested in things that were handed down from the past. So the first time I heard about sumo, I was an army teacher in Singapore. I read a Sunday supplement article on it, and it did seem to be one of the most interesting kind of traditions, going with some traditions going back a long, long time. The throwing of the salt for purification, for example, in the top 2 divisions before a bout. And then I came to Japan and actually got into it and started watching all day, Saturdays and Sundays when it was in Tokyo. And, I mean, one thing just leads to another.
OK, well, these new twists and turns will give you much more to commentate on, of course. Doreen Simmons, thank you very much indeed.